What's up, everybody? Lou from Hypocritic back on the show floor at PAX West 2024. We are here with Rich from Floodgate Games talking about Décorum and its new Movin Out expansion. Thanks so much for taking some time at the end of the show here.
No problem. Great to have you guys.
For those who don't know, tell us a little bit about Décorum.
So Décorum is a game where you're cohabitating with other people. The problem is you're not very good at communicating. I've demoed the game all over the world, and that seems to be a common thread through everybody. So in this game, you're trying to decorate the house the way you want it, but then your partners in the house are also trying to decorate the house they want it. And the whole idea is to find the one solution or multiple solutions that make everybody happy.
And the gameplay mechanics make that really tricky and interesting in that you cannot reveal much information about the objectives you're trying to go toward or how you're trying to style the house and get things exactly to your liking.
Right, yeah, exactly. When somebody makes a change to the house, you get a choice of three options. I love it, I hate it, I don't care. And that kind of gives them the information. If you put a blue lamp in the bedroom, is it because it's a blue lamp? Is it because it's a lamp? Or is it because it's in the bedroom? And so your answer helps them, but doesn't give them the exact answer. And so you're trying to communicate subtly to make sure everybody's happy.
It's a very unique and very, I think, relatable set of gameplay mechanics with sort of the cohabitation theme,
Yeah.
and most of us having been there at some point with others in our lives. Can you talk a little bit about the development process behind Décorum, how the sort of mechanics were fleshed out, how Floodgate kind of came upon this idea and then put it out there?
Yeah, I mean, the game came to us, I think it was more of a shelf being organized and then kind of expanded into the house. And so the idea was to, and then we've developed like new additions to it. We added like almost a legacy element to the game to keep you going. And then we were also in the process of developing an app so that you can keep going after you've used all the scenarios. So to make the game even more interesting down the line. And we have a lot of ideas out there. So we're trying to, but we're not trying to do it too fast. Bring them out, see how it goes. The game sales, it's in its probably 5th printing. And we have it in about 5 languages worldwide right now. So with reprints in every language. So
wow. Sounds very healthy. Nice long runway for the game, which is very good. Bringing it to trade shows like PAX West or others across the country and the world, obviously you get a really great firsthand experience of players understanding the concept and maybe getting mad at each other as they're trying to figure it all out.
The unique advantage I get is I take it around the world. So I take it to Denmark, I taken it to England, Germany, and what the common element of the game is, everybody in every one of those countries has the same issues that we have. Right? and they're living with a person, and neither of them communicate real well. So
and that speaks to how well it's been selling in the marketplace, right? Yep. Shared experience, and it's communal for a lot of us out there. Now, let's move into the new expansion a little bit. Sure. So with the core game having been out for a couple of years and finding a lot of sales success and people resonating with it, can you talk a little bit about what the new Movin Out expansion brings to the core game?
Well, first thing is we saw that a lot of couples really liked the game. So the development on Movin Out was specifically focused around the 2-player experience rather than the multiplayer. Because the multiplayer is fun and has unique elements, but it's harder to tell a story as much with that one. So people like the story elements of the original 2-player. So Décorum does that as well. Movin Out does that as well. And just a little bit of a spoiler, the first scenario is about Mama Baloney and Anthony, and they're moving out to the country because you don't want to break your back working too hard. If it sounds familiar, you might have heard the song.
And one of our core staff members being Save the Baloney, this already resonates. There's overlap in the name. This is great. We're sold already.
Well, I'm from New Jersey, so it also,
yeah, just
I know
really,
those people.
really hits home, right? Definitely. Now, developing an expansion to an already existing game probably has different sort of challenges or quirks to that process instead of taking the concept, building it from the ground up. Can you talk a little bit about how Floodgate worked on developing the expansion mechanics relative to the base game and what sort of different challenges that presented rather to building from scratch?
What we wanted to avoid was just more scenarios the same, because we're going to do the app. So the scenarios, the 2-player scenarios and stuff, the app's going to cover more of those. What we wanted to do is look at different themes within the moving and living experience, and there's all the problem of the first one kind of handled moving in, because you're moving in with new people, you're trying to get the house decorated. This one is the process of getting all your stuff out of the house and trying to get it out in one piece. But you can't maybe take it all with you. So, so that gave it a more unique experience and just new scenarios that follow the original.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And now, again, having the opportunity to kind of get it out in the wild a little bit and get people's hands on it, I assume you've seen them, resonating with it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The sales of Moving Out since it premiered last year in April have been phenomenal. We've on at least 2 printings so far this year, and it's only a few months in. And then that's driving sales of the original Décorum too, because people like the experience of Moving Out and want to have the whole experience, so they buy the whole game.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Fantastic. And I want to just briefly touch on your role at Floodgate a little bit more. Head of sales, I believe you mentioned before.
I handle sales. I handle the conventions, and pretty much wherever we attend conventions, I'm there. And then the other aspect I do is that localization I talked about. I oversee almost all the localization efforts. So our games like Kites, we have 17 languages, and so a large part of my job is talking to people in other countries, connecting with them, and making sure they get the right products that sell within the country.
Sure, and I want to touch on that convention aspect of it just a little bit more, where obviously a really important way to get these sort of games in front of players who've maybe never seen them before, haven't heard of them, and I imagine it's probably a very interesting and unique perspective to be overseeing the presence at shows like this. Can you tell us a little bit more about what goes into anchoring Floodgate's presence at shows like PAX West? What goes into the sort of planning and logistics and execution of a booth here, and
Sure.
what you sort of see from your perspective?
Sure,
while you're
I mean,
here?
everything from the aspect of just knowing convention centers, because each one has its own unique rules, ways you can violate those rules, and so you're kind of becoming creative to bring products in, because there's different rules to bring it through the loading docks, but then also making sure we have updated signage and have the right space for the right products, and making sure all the customers can kind of have access to it too, is something that's important, and then making sure you have enough product, for example, and then combining that with other events and other aspects of the show to kind of broaden it out. Like Gen Con's where we make our biggest investments, and there you can't walk anywhere in Gen Con without seeing our products or something about our products. So
That's great. And then it all comes together, and it's probably very gratifying to get it all here and watch people
finding
play
great
it.
employees to help us out, people who love the games, really helps a lot. And the nice thing with me is I've done it for a long time for a number of companies, so I have a core group of people that are very passionate about games and will learn a new game and then just bring them on. And so some of the people working with me have worked for like 10 years with me, so they have a very long experience, that I know they'll do a good job, and they'll treat the customers right and make sure everybody walks away happy.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, finally then, for those of our viewers who are not at the booth and can't get it here, if they want to learn more about Décorum and buy it, where can they go?
So they can buy it on our website, floodgategames.com, Amazon, and pretty much all your favorite local game stores carry it. We make sure it's distributed real well through the hobby trade. So that's a place to really, talk to your store owners if they don't have it, bring it in, teach it maybe if you already have it yourself.